Hi students, this is Kartik Trivedi and you are watching a lecture series of Applied Thermodynamics with me. Now in the second part of psychrometric process, so our topic of psychrometric process is not completed. In last video we have taken the part 1 of psychrometric process. So now this part 2 will be continuous from whenever we have left. Okay, so now we have moved to the fifth process. So we in part 1 we have covered sensible cooling, sensible heating, humidification, dehumidification, and now fifth number process is cooling and dehumidification. So now as the name suggests, so here what is going to be happen? Here the cooling is going to be happen, means dryable temperature is going to be decreased, and the dehumidification means specific humidity is going to be decreased. Dehumidification means water vapor is going to be removed. That means specific humidity is going to be decreased. So this is how you can interpret the whole process over here. So here you can see that for cooling and dehumidification, sometimes it is also known as summer air conditioning system. So in summer our AC will be working something like this. Okay, so that is why it's follow the principle of summer air conditioning system. So this is the principle of summer air conditioning system. That's why I have written summer AC over here. So in summer AC, what is happening? Cooling and dehumidification happening. So our AC is what our AC is doing? Our AC is doing cooling as well as dehumidification. Okay, so that is why here I have written summer AC. Okay, so now how to do cooling and dehumidification? So for that, here you can see the one process over here. Here the air is coming with the TD1, means dry bulb temperature 1, and the air is leaving with the dry bulb temperature 2. And here you can see the cooling coil is over here. Obviously we want to do cooling, so here the cooling coil is over here, and the for the cooling the refrigerant is circulating in the cooling coil. So refrigerant in, refrigerant out. Now cooling is going to be happen, but how we are going to do dehumidification, means how we are going to remove a water vapor. So for that our logic is our cooling coil temperature should be at dew point temperature. So our cooling coil temperature will be at the dew point temperature of the air which is coming from over here. So the cooling coil temperature is TADP, means apparatus dew point. So this is cooling coil is at dew point temperature. So now what is going to happen? So you know the definition of dew point temperature. So what is happening if air will reach to its dew point? Okay, so this cooling coil is systematically we have maintained at a dew point temperature of the air which is coming over here. So what is happening? So already this cooling coil at dew point temperature. Now what is going to happen? You are going to cool at dew point temperature. So once the air is at dew point temperature, and if you are going to cooling down further, then what will happen? The condensation will start happening. As I already explained you in the basic concept of psychrometric process, what is the definition of dew point temperature? If you understand the dew point temperature, then you can understand this concept. So what will happen? So by making this cooling coil at a temperature of dew point temperature of the air which is coming over here, so what will happen? So cooling is going to be happen. So as soon as the air is going to be come in contact with this cooling coil, is going to be reach at its dew point temperature, and further here the cooling is going on. So it is already at dew point temperature, and if you are going to do further cooling, then what will happen? Then the water vapor will be start removing, then condensation will start happening over here. So you can see that some of the water vapor which is removed, which is collected over here. So here I have written condensate. Okay, so we have removed the water vapor from the air. That means what we have done? That means we have done dehumidification. Okay, so that's why here cooling. So whatever the air is coming out with the cooling and dehumidification, means cooling is done and water vapor will be removed. So that means dehumidification is done. So this is how you can do cooling and dehumidification. Here I have written apparatus dew point. What is ADP? So it is the effective surface temperature of cooling coil. So here the cooling coil temperature is at dew point temperature. So ADP is nothing but the effective surface temperature of cooling coil, apparatus dew point. Now bypass factor for this will be same thing same as we have written for cooling coil. So TD2 minus ADP. So ADP is nothing, TADP upon TD1 minus ADP. So it is nothing, but instead of TD3 we have write ADP, same thing. Okay, so bypass factor for the cooling and dehumidification process is TD2 minus apparatus dew point upon TD1 minus apparatus dew point. Now let's see all this process over here. So you can see that 1 to 2, process 1 to 2 showing cooling and dehumidification. How cooling and dehumidification? So if you can see from point 1 temperature is TD1 and at the point 2 temperature is TD2. So the temperature is decreased. Same way at point 1 specific humidity is W1 and at point 2 specific humidity is W2. So that means what? Specific humidity is also decreased. So that's how we can recognize. So here the cooling and dehumidification has done. Other thing, if the process does not want to follow this path 1 to 2, then it can follow the other path 1 to 3 and then 3 to 2. So 1 to 3 means first dehumidification and from 3 to 2 it will be cooling. So path doesn't matter, only endpoint matter. So 1 to 2. So here you can show it by 1 to 2 or you can show it the process by 1 3 and 3 to 2. Okay. So this is for your explanation. I have shown the two path. So path doesn't matter, only endpoint is matter. If your first point is 1 here, then endpoint 2 must be over here. That and then only it will be cooling and dehumidification. So here you can see that enthalpy H1, this is enthalpy H3 and this is enthalpy H2. Now sometime in numerical, let's say you locate the point 1, point 2. Now let's say if he will ask you an example, find out the cooling coil temperature, means apparatus dew point temperature of cooling coil. Then how you can find? Then what you have to do? If you have locate the point 1 and 2, so what you have to do? You have to connect the point 1 and 2 and then you have to extend the same line. You have to extend the same line whenever it intersects this saturation curve, that will be apparatus dew point. So from here find out the temperatures, that will be the apparatus dew point temperature. So this is for your explanation purpose. So now there is another term which is called sensible heat factor. Now what is sensible heat factor? Sensible heat factor is nothing but it is a ratio of sensible heat upon total heat. Total heat means sensible heat plus latent heat. So here what is sensible heat? So here you can see that sensible heat means the heat removed. So here you can see that 3 to 2 what it shows. So here you can see that 3 to 2 what we have done? Cooling done. So here we have removed the sensible heat. So 3 to 2 is sensible heat is removed. So what is the sensible heat removed? Will be H3 minus H2, sensible heat factor upon sensible heat plus latent heat. So 3 to 2 shows the sensible cooling. So sensible heat is removed. So H3 minus H2 upon sensible heat. So we know that again 3 to 2 H3 minus H2 plus latent heat. Latent heat means that process at which dry bulb temperature is constant but humidity decrease. So that process is 1 to 3. So here H1 minus H3. So some of the students might have a question, sir, why you have considered for sensible heating only 3 to 2 path? Because the condition for sensible is that humidity must remain constant. So for cooling process 3 to 2, you can see that W2 equal to W3, humidity constant. So that is what is known as sensible cooling. Okay, so humidity constant but temperature decrease. That's why it's called sensible. And in latent, what is happening? Humidity decrease but dry bulb temperature remain constant. So that's why for sensible I have considered 3 to 2 point and for latent I have considered 1 to 3 point. So that is the logic. So what is happening over here? So H3 is going to be considered, going to be cancelled. So your sensible heat factor will be H3 minus H2 upon H1 minus H2. So this is how you can find that. Okay. Now next process which is cooling and humidification. So just reverse of this. Okay. So it is also known as desert cooler, or it is also known as evaporative cooling, or it is also known as adiabatic saturation. Okay. So now how we can do cooling and humidification? So here you can see that air is coming with dry bulb temperature 1 TD1, air is going out with the dry bulb temperature 2. Now what we will do? Now here we have to do humidification. That means we have to add the water vapor into the air and as well as we have to do cooling. So what I will do here, you can say the cooling water spray. So here it is spray nozzle. So what is happening here? Cooling water spray is started to happening over here. So air is passing and cooling water is falling on it. So what will happen? Air, because this cooling water, whatever this cooling water which is coming out from the spray nozzle, it is having a less temperature compared to the air which is coming. So what will happen? So the air which is when come into the contact of this spray nozzle, means come into the contact of this spray water, the incoming air is going to be, his temperature is going to be decreased, and whatever the heat absorbed by this water, so water will be converted into what? Vapor. So this vapor is also going to be go with the air. So that means what we have done, we have added the water vapor into the air. That means we have done humidification. So this is how it works. Okay, and you can see that the water spray is happening over here, and whatever the water is falling down, that is again pumped, and again it's falling over here. So this is how it's going to be recirculated. And if the water quantity is less, then we can do makeup over here. So that's why I've written makeup water. Okay, so let's show this process on psychrometry chart. So this is 1 to 2. So here you can see that humidity, specific humidity W1, this is specific humidity W2. So you can see that humidity increase, so that is why it is humidification. And here at the point TD1, dry bulb temperature TD1, and here you can see that the temperature is TD2. So temperature decrease, so humidity increase, temperature decrease. So that's why it is cooling and humidification. And in the cooling and humidification, you can see that the enthalpies remain constant. So for 1 and 2, enthalpy is same. So H1 equal to H2, and also wet bulb temperature is same. So this is the properties of cooling and humidification. So now the next process is heating and humidification and chemical dehumidification. Okay, so first we will see heating and humidification. So as the name suggests, what is going to be happen over here? The heating of the air is going to be happen, and humidification means water vapor is going to be added into the air. So now here you can see that how we can do this process. So there are two ways of doing this process. So the process, so the way number 1 means method number 1 for this is, so here you can see that the air is coming with the dry bulb temperature 1 and air is leaving with the dry bulb temperature 2, DD2. So now what I have done here, you can see that here the steam is coming out. The steam is coming out like this. Steam is coming out like this. So here I have applied supplied the steam. So what is happening here? Here you can see that this is known as steam injector nozzle. Means steam is coming out from over here. So steam means it is hot. Okay, so what is happening when the air is coming over here and the steam is coming like this? So you know that steam is hot. So when the air is come in contact with the steam, as the steam is hot, what will happen? The heating of the air will happen. So this is why it is known as heating. And as well as when you supply the steam, means you are when you say the steam means it is a water vapor, hot water vapor. So when the air is coming and you are supplying the steam, that means you are throwing a hot water vapor into the air. So you are adding the water vapor into the air. That means what you are doing? You are doing humidification. So this is how you can do heating and humidification. There are other ways. The second number way or method number 2 is what you can do. Here I have applied the heater. Okay, so what I will do here, the air is coming with the TD1 temperature, means dry bulb temperature, and it is going with the dry bulb temperature 2. So what I will do, first I will do heating only. So here you can see the heater. So when the air comes in contact with this heater, only heating will happen. So the first you will do heating, and then what I am going to do, then here you can see the same as the here steam injector nozzle. What I have used over here is water injection nozzle. So what is happening after the air getting heated by this heater, and when it goes to the next phase, the water is throwing onto the heat. So what will happen? Little bit temperature of the air will be down, but not as much as it comes with the as it comes when it enter at a TD1. So what is going to be happen? Again, I'm going to repeat the process. The air is entering with the dry bulb temperature TD1. So it is entering with dry bulb temperature TD1. First, you will apply the heating. So first, you have over here the heater is over there. So what is happening? Only the heating of the air will going to be happen. After that, the water injector is over here. So you throw the water to the heated air. So what will happen? The water, as we know that the water comes into contact with the hot air, so some of the water will be converted into the what? Water vapor after absorbing heat. So that water vapor is going to be mixed with the air when it comes out, and also little bit temperature down, so not that much as it comes with the TD1. So here the TD2 is always going to be greater than TD1, but here little bit, because you are applying a water spray, so little bit temperature is going to be decreased, but your TD2 is always going to be greater than TD1. So this is how you can do it. So this second way. So how you can see the heating and humidification. So this is the how you can solve psychrometric chart 1 to 2. So here you can see that at 1 temperature is TD1 and at 2 temperature is TD2. So you have applied the heating, so temperature increase. Same way at 1 humidity is W1 and at 2 humidity is W2, specific humidity. So specific humidity is increased. So heating is done and humidification increase. So that is what is known heating and humidification. How you can find the enthalpy? So 0.1 enthalpy will be H1, point 2, it will be enthalpy H2. So it is not like that it is only follow 1 to 2 path. It can go something like this as well. First it will go 1 to 3 and then it will go 3 to 2. That means first heating happen and then humidification happen. Okay, so there are other ways. So paths doesn't matter, only endpoint matter. So point 1 and point 2 endpoint is only matter. Okay, so for this, can you find out the sensible heat vector? Yes, it is very easy. So sensible heat vector will be sensible heat upon sensible heat plus latent heat. So sensible heat will be H3 minus H1. Same way here 4.3 enthalpy will be something like this, H3, and upon sensible heat means H3 minus H1 plus latent heat. So it will be H2 minus H3. So what will happen? H3 cancel. So H3 minus H1 upon H2 minus H1. So this is how you can find sensible heat factor. Now we're going to see the next process, which is chemical dehumidifications. So how chemical dehumidification works? So chemical dehumidification is nothing but a heating and dehumidification. Okay, so what is going to be happen? So this is very special process over here. The air is entering with the dry bulb temperature 1 and the air is leaving with the dry bulb temperature 2. So what I have put it over here, I have put the hygroscopic material. Now what is hygroscopic material? So hygroscopic material is that kind of material which is having a property so that it can absorb the moisture. So it has a ability to absorb or adsorb the moisture. So what is going to be happen when the air is passing through this hygroscopic material, whatever the water vapor that air has, some of the water vapor is going to be absorbed in the hygroscopic material. So whenever the air comes out, it comes out with less water vapor. That means humidity is going to be decreased. That means dehumidification is going to be happen. Now the question will come in your mind, sir, we have understand the dehumidification happen, but how the heating is going to be happen? So this is very special process. In this process happen with a constant enthalpy. Here this process is happen with constant enthalpy. So you can see that here you can say that a heating and dehumidification. So 4.1 and 2 you can see that enthalpy is same, H1 equal to H2. So that's why you can see that its process is happening with the constant enthalpy. So that why if 4.1 is over here, 0.2 is over here, you can see that 0.1 temperature is TD1, at 0.2 temperature is TD2, at 0.1 specific humidity W1, and at 0.2 specific humidity W2. So you can see that humidity decrease, and is this process happen with constant enthalpy. That's why you can see that the temperature is also going to be increased. So this is why the temperature in this process is going to be increased. So this is why it is known as heating and dehumidification, or you can say chemical dehumidification. So these all are the process. So these all are known as psychrometry process. And so part 1 and part 2 both combined make the one complete theory of psychrometry process. So I hope you will like this video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.